Johnson & Johnson, which is traditionally one of the most stable paying dividend stocks out there, lost around $40 billion of its market cap value on Friday. The stock price dropped around 10% in a single day, and this caused a lot of panic out there. This caused a lot of attention with the media outlets, and it really has investors asking if Johnson & Johnson is now a buy. Well, let's dig into what caused this drop, and let's figure out if Johnson & Johnson is in fact a good value right now. Let's go. So the big news actually came out from Reuters, and they said, quote, "The company knew for decades that its baby powder contained asbestos." So this is actually a huge claim from Reuters, of course, and it had a massive impact on the company's reputation, on the company's brand, and of course the company's stock price. The stock, as you know, took a massive hit, reaching as low as 11% down on the day, but it did end up closing off at around 10% down for the day. So let's take a second here to understand why it dropped so much so fast, and if this was kind of an overreaction, or if this just presents us a perfect buying opportunity. So I would say there's really three main reasons as to why this drop occurred and why it was as big as it was. So the first reason I would say is as soon as this news came out and made headlines, investors who are invested in the stock sold off their position or most of their position based on morals and based on principle. And this is pretty evident from the comments and videos you've seen online popping up over the last couple of days, and people are very disappointed in the brand, and if this does turn out to be true, a lot of people will not be buying Johnson & Johnson products anymore. I mean, when you have a baby, you want to try to keep it as safe as possible, and when you go and trust a large brand like Johnson & Johnson, which provides baby products, you do kind of put your trust in that brand, and you do hope that they do have your baby's best interest at heart. But if this accusation is true, that may not be the case here. So I would say this would be kind of the first batch of people that sold out of their Johnson & Johnson position, putting a lot of selling pressure on the stock here on Friday. The second group would be those who set stop losses. Now, I personally fall into this category here with the stop losses. So I've recently reevaluated my strategy going into 2019, and although I had Johnson & Johnson in my portfolio, it was a stock that I wasn't really keen on holding into 2019, and as a result, I did set a stop limit on the stock price. I did have a pretty decent entry point in the stock, and I figured that if the stock price drops below a certain price, it'll automatically sell with my stop order, and I'll be happy with those gains. So that's exactly what I did. It triggered that stop on Friday, and I'm now officially out of Johnson & Johnson. So I made a small gain on the stock. It fits with my strategy going into 2019, and I'm glad to be out of a company's stock that I believe will most likely trend lower in the coming months. And I believe a lot of other people are also on this kind of wavelength here. A lot of people got into Johnson & Johnson earlier in the year when they had a significant correction, and they've been kind of riding the wave up and been setting some stop losses just in case the stock price did have a significant drop, which it finally did on Friday. I mean, it was a pretty big 10% drop, is massive for a company like Johnson & Johnson. And as a result, a lot of investors kind of just had their stop losses hit, and that added to the selling pressure as well. Now, the third reason is, of course, panic and fear. And this is always a big factor when it comes to significant drops in stocks. And I would say this is even more true and even more significant when you have a company's stock that is traditionally very stable over the years. You know, you see maybe a couple percent move up and down in volatile conditions, but in typical conditions, you see kind of very small moves up and down. But then when you see a drop of 10% or more, there's a lot of fear that comes into investors' minds. In fact, this drop in Johnson & Johnson was actually the worst that the stock has performed since 2002, which of course, like I said, was something that a lot of investors did not expect for a company like this. So as a result, if you're one of these investors that has been in the stock, say even the last 10 years, you have not seen this stock drop that significantly, and now you see the stock price down 5%, 7%, 10% or more, you kind of let your emotions take over and you kind of say, you know what, okay, I've had enough, I'm going to sell this, I'm going to take my profits and move on. And this move, of course, is exaggerated by algorithms that exaggerate the moves in stock prices, and this, of course, plays more into people's fear, more into people's panic, and as a result, you'll see significant moves to the downside as well. So I firmly believe that all three of the reasons that I listed here contributed to Johnson & Johnson's drop in stock price on Friday, and because of the volatility in the market, that move was also exaggerated because of algorithm trading as well. Now, just based on the overall sentiment, I do have a feeling that this will continue on in the near future. However, Johnson & Johnson did come out on Friday and did put out kind of a short statement here saying that, quote, "The report was one-sided, false, and inflammatory, and it's kind of a conspiracy theory in their opinion." So I'm sure a lot of investors now are sitting here on the sidelines and they're waiting for official, full documented statement from Johnson & Johnson rebuttaling these claims and proving why these claims are not true and why they believe that they were just attacked for no reason here. Now, for the sake of the stock's price, for the sake of investors that are currently in the stock, I would hope that they'd come out with a statement sooner rather than later, so it'll be interesting to see if they do come out with that this week. So like I said, I do believe that the stock price will continue lower, at least for the short term here, as sentiment slowly starts to shift to a more bearish standpoint here for this company. It's typically very difficult for a stock price to reverse significantly after it's had such a negative day for its stock price and when there's a lot of negativity out there in the media around the stock and the company as well. Now, I personally would not be surprised to see Johnson & Johnson stock hit $120 per share before it goes up and hits $140 per share again. But again, that's just speculation. Only time will tell what happens with this stock. So guys, let me know if you're using this opportunity to buy more shares in Johnson & Johnson. Maybe you sold out of your position. Maybe you're just sitting on the sidelines here and waiting to see how this plays out, and then you'll make a move in the stock. Either way, let me know in the comment section down below and drop a huge like as well. Let's try to get 50 likes on this video. And if you guys enjoy these kind of news stories around stocks that are pretty popular or have had significant moves in the market, let me know that as well in the comment section down below. Either way guys, hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to invest positively. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.